Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your brother, New Possibilities. Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your brother, New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to wait for a couple of people to tune in before I get started. Just want I'll get started in 1 second. Just want to give people time to tune in. And while we wait, I want to remind people that I'm still running for city council here in Baltimore in the 4th District. Shout out to David Bowman. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to remind everyone that I am still running for city council. The election was originally scheduled to be on April 28th, but it has been extended to June 2nd because of the coronavirus pandemic. Shout out to Doug. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Yeah, so because of this pandemic that's going on, there's been an extension of the election to June 2nd, and I need your support. I need brothers and sisters to donate to my campaign today. After this video uploads, I will post a link in the comments and in the description box so that each one of you can donate to the campaign today. I have 9,000 subscribers. If you all donate, I could be highly competitive in this race. The main reason why I need money today is so that I can send out mass mailings right before the election to get the word out about this campaign. As you know, because of the coronavirus pandemic, we have suspended campaigning door to door to make sure that volunteers are safe and to make sure that the public is safe from this pandemic. And also the mayor, actually the governor imposed a stay-at-home order here in Maryland. So for that reason, it's been more difficult to get out to the voters. So I need your support to pay for these mass mailings. You know, if each one of my subscribers donated a modest amount of money, I would be able to fund this effort to send out mass mailings. That's the last thing that I need to do before this primary, and I need your support to make that happen. So again, I will post a link in the comments and also in the description box so that you all can make a donation to the campaign. I'm gonna go back and see who else tuned in. 1 second. Marag, Walaikum Assalam, Ramadan Mubarak. For those that don't know, this is the first day of Ramadan. Shout out to Doug. Thank you for posting the link to donate to the campaign. I think that's the link to donate to the campaign. You all can click that link and donate whatever you can to the campaign. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, so somebody asked if I support Trump. I clearly, well, I don't know if you're asking. No, that's Doug. I see. Oh, hold on. No, that's not Doug. That's someone else, Green. Sorry, it's hard seeing this fine print. Okay, so let me get right into this content. You know, for people that know, I obviously don't support Donald Trump. You know, for people that are new to this channel, I don't have any love for Donald Trump. I vehemently oppose everything that that man stands for. All right, so let's get right into it. So you have a situation that's going on. You have this coronavirus crisis, this pandemic that's going on. I'm looking at CNN right now, and over 860,000 people have tested positive in this country for the coronavirus. And close to 50,000 people have died from this virus. And you know from my last video, black people are disproportionately testing positive for this virus, and black people are disproportionately dying from this virus. This is a crisis, and I will post a link to my prior video that goes through all the numbers and statistics. I encourage you all to check that out. It cites the details. But here you have a situation in Georgia where you have this governor deciding to reopen Georgia, the state of Georgia, to business, commerce, and all that kind of stuff. Even though there is no vaccine to this coronavirus, even though there is not widespread testing in Georgia, even though people continue to die from this virus, particularly in black communities, even though there are nowhere near having this situation under control. You have this governor trying to reopen the state of Georgia to business as if we don't have a pandemic going on. And one of the first businesses that this guy is trying to open are barber shops, uh, hair salons, nail shops, and all that kind of stuff. Places that are frequented by African Americans. And then from what I understand, next week he's opening movie theaters and other forms of business. This is going to do nothing but expose people, more people, to this virus. Without stay at home orders, without social distancing, far more people would die from this virus. Far more black people and people, period, in this nation would die from this virus. But you had this governor who has no regard for human life, just like a lot of these other right wing nuts have no regard for human life. They put profits over people. They don't give a damn about the people, especially black people. And it seems as if this governor is basically using the black community as crash dummies, as guinea pigs by opening the salons and the the hair salons and the barber shops and all those types of businesses that they know are frequented by black people. They know this. So they're going to try it out, and they're opening these businesses, and people's lives are at risk because of this. So I'm just going to read from a couple of articles before I get into the whole point of this live stream. So once the governor decided to make this decision, to open up Georgia, you had the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, speak out against this. And she basically said this. She said, "We will continue to urge Atlanta to stay home, stay safe, and make decisions based on the best interests of their families. As a parent, I'm concerned our numbers are going up. Mayors are really at a loss." That's what she said to CNN. Also, it's worth noting that just like around the country, there's a disparity in Georgia in terms of the impact of this coronavirus on black communities. This article from The Guardian says this. It says, in a state where African Americans make up more than 32% of the population, but account for an estimated 54% of known coronavirus deaths, the decision has pitted a white Republican governor against against mostly black Democrats in, various cities and mayors and all that kind of stuff. So you had this situation. So this sister speaks out boldly and courageously. And in response, there has been a racist backlash to this mayor, to Mayor Bottoms. And I'm going to let you all know about this. Just bear with me a second. And I will get to your comments in a second. Just bear with me. So the mayor received a racist message. And this is reported in the Grio. I'll post a link to this article after this video uploads. And I will get to your comments. She posted, the mayor posted this on Twitter. And she included a screenshot of this particular message that she received. And again, I'll post this article in the description box. She says this, with my daughter looking over my shoulder, I received this message on my phone, and I pray for you. And she went on to quote Martin Luther King Jr., who said, conscientious stupidity or insincere ignorance. And this is what the person sent to her. It's a message. It's It says, nigger, just shut up and reopen Atlanta. So you have some racist telling this black woman to just, first of all, calling her a nigger and then telling her to just shut up and reopen Atlanta. Despite the fact that black people are disproportionately dying from this virus, despite the fact that there is no vaccine, despite the fact that there is no mass testing, despite the fact that numbers are going up of people getting infected with this virus, not going down. You had this idiotic right-wing governor opening, the state, and this sister speaking out against it. And you had these right-wing fanatics, racist people attacking this sister. And, this just speaks to the mindset of these people that are out here protesting to defend, to call for the reopening of America. You got right-wing nuts in Michigan. You have right-wing nuts here in Maryland and around the country staging these ridiculous protests calling for the reopening of America, even though this situation is nowhere near under control. And the fact of the matter is, man, this message speaks to the mentality. This text message that this sister received speaks to the mentality of these right-wing nuts. It speaks to their racism. It speaks to their hatred. It speaks to their disregard of human life. And you have these people that have staged these protests around the country, protesting with assault rifles, bearing arms at state capitals around this country, calling for America to be reopened. If that had been a group of black people staging those types of protests with arms around the country, we know that the reaction would be completely different. You have a president that's co-signing this foolishness, a president who's calling on these people to liberate different states and all that kind of stuff, calling on or encouraging open rebellion. That's what your president is doing. Calling on these right-wing fanatics to actually protest against the very guidelines that the federal government itself put out. These people are, most of these people at these demonstrations have these pro-Trump signs. A lot of these people are wearing these Trump hats and stuff like that. And it speaks to the mentality of these Trump supporters. It speaks to their racism. It speaks to their bigotry. And I'm just encouraging brothers and sisters that live in Georgia to stay at home and stay safe, man. Resist, this governor. Don't listen to this governor telling you to just go on out there and put your life at risk. Don't listen to the governor. Look out for your interests, just as the mayor said. And, I'm glad that the NAACP in Georgia has called on people to defy this governor by staying at home. This governor, basically these governors want to get out of paying for unemployment benefits and all that kind of stuff. They want to get out of that. So what they're doing is they're just trying to open all these businesses, even though it still exposes the public to a deadly risk. When people die as a result of these decisions that these reckless governors are making, the blood will be on those governors' hands. All these people dying around the country because of this virus, and you had these idiotic right-wing nuts calling for America to be open. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this to y'all real quick. I don't want to keep y'all long. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to go back through your comments real quick. I'm sorry for getting all close. I can hardly see this fine print. So let me do my shout outs again real quick. Shout out to Dave Bowman. Shout out to Doug. Shout out to LC Smith. Shout out to Maroc. Shout out to Green. Thanks for tuning in. So Dave Bowman said that he's not going to take the COVID-19 test or the vaccine for it. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Like, I'm not going to. The only way I would take a test for COVID-19 is if I had symptoms. You know, if I had symptoms for the disease or whatever, then I would take a test. And the vaccine, you know, I would need to have scientific proof that it's effective. And, you know, I would have to see its usage for an extended period of time before I would decide to take the vaccine myself. Uh, Shorty Womp Womp said that it's population control. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of speculation online about whether or not, you know, this was some kind of man-made virus or something to that effect. Right now, I don't see any evidence of this, but I will say this. You know, the federal government, you know, the intelligent agencies are investigating the situation. And I was really surprised to see this. They're investigating uh, how the virus started to spread from China, and they're trying to determine whether or not the source came from a lab. Because there have been reports that the idea that this virus came from a so called wet market in China is questionable at this point. And I will post links to those stories in the description box so that you could check those out. But I think that it's a very interesting point. And I'm not going to rule it out completely that this possibly may be some kind of man made virus, but I don't have evidence of that right now. So I can't speak on that. So I won't say that that's definitely the case. But there are really suspicious circumstances around this situation, to say the least. The fact that you have, you know, this virus just come out of nowhere. You know, the fact that you had this virus come from Wuhan, where you know they have these plants that, I mean, these laboratories where they deal with viruses. You know, the fact that you had these experts predicting that something like this would happen. I mean, those raise all kinds of concerns in my mind. You know, I don't think that those are a coincidence. But again, you know, I'm not going to say that it's man made without proof. But I think that's a valid point and a valid concern. Christopher Richard says that he hopes that the governor in Georgia gets infected with the coronavirus. You know, I'm not going to wish that on anybody, but I will say this. You had that prime minister in England who was basically downplaying the virus, you know, joking about shaking hands with people and all that kind of stuff. And that man ended up getting sick. He ended up catching the virus. He ended up being you know, in the hospital, in the ICU unit. So this is a very serious situation, and we need to take it seriously. Each and every one of us need to stay at home. If we are able to, we need to stay at home. You know, each time that we go out here and leave our houses and interact with the public, we are putting not only ourselves at risk, we are putting our families at risk. Shout out to S. Wiseman. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I don't know why you would agree with opening up the country, Doug. I mean, I mean, in light of the fact that there is no vaccine, there isn't mass testing going on, the numbers are still going up with this virus. I don't know why anybody would be talking about opening up America. All you're doing is opening up America to more death and sickness by opening it up. So I don't understand. So Dave Bowman said that New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and a few other states are going to open back up on May 15th. I haven't heard that report. I know that New York has reached their high point in terms of the fatalities as a result of this virus. Uh, and they're on the decline right now, in terms of the number of people being hospitalized and all that kind of stuff. It seems like they're turning a corner. Uh, so I'm going to have to look into that. I know that there has been talk about some of these states opening up, but I just think that such talk is premature until these numbers come substantially down and until we have, massive testing and a vaccine available. See, I keep hearing this stuff like about these numbers being inflated. I don't see any evidence of that. I mean, you have a lot of these people that were downplaying this whole situation. Even some of these fake black militants, on here telling you and me that this situation is not real. Telling black people that we are somehow immune to this virus. When here we are today, black people are dying at disproportionately high numbers. I'm going to need some sources for somebody to put out a statement that, oh, these numbers aren't real and stuff like that. These numbers are being put out by John Hopkins. Like a lot of the numbers for around the country, John Hopkins is one of the most prestigious medical institutions in this country. And I believe that these numbers are real. When I hear about all these people dying, people that I know, like I've heard people that I know have lost their loved ones to this virus. People that I know have been infected with this virus. This thing is real. This is not make believe. They would not go through all this trouble of shutting down all these businesses if this wasn't real. This is a country that's all about capitalism, a country that's all about profits. And this country is going to the extent of shutting down businesses, shutting down industry, um, putting people in a situation where all these thousands upon thousands of people are losing their job. These numbers are real. In fact, these numbers are probably an undercount of the number of people that have been infected. There was a report about how they said that a person died like way before it even became like news that this was widely spreading. People have been dying from this virus before it even hit the news. So I'm sure that a lot more people are dying from this virus than we know. I mean, I think that these numbers are probably an underestimate because a lot of people that are sick haven't been tested. I've read stories about how a woman went to the hospital like 4 times seeking help. First time she went, they told her she had the flu, and then they had some excuse each time. They said, "Well, we're not going to even test you." And then when they finally test this woman, she tested positive. So I'm wondering how many people have been sick from this virus that haven't received testing? How many people have died from this virus that did not receive any kind of testing? So I don't think that these numbers are exaggerated. And it just makes me think about like how a lot of these fake pro-black people are spreading ignorance. You have these people over here telling you it's not that bad, like the numbers aren't that bad, you're immune. And then we wonder why so many of our people end up disproportionately infected with this virus and disproportionately die from this virus. So let's see what else. And I'm encouraging everyone again to stay at home if you can and to wear masks and gloves when you go out. And you had these people putting out these false stories all on, these fake black conscious people putting out up these irresponsible stories talking about 5G is the reason why people are getting sick and all that kind of stuff without any shred of scientific evidence, without a shred of it. There's an article that just debunks all that ridiculousness, and I will post that into the description box as well to this video. And I may just do a separate video debunking that as well, like going in detail about that. I'm gonna have to go in a second for this meeting, but I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna try to do these live streams more regularly. And it's just so hard with this campaign going on. You know, this campaign, and now it's Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak to my Muslim brothers and sisters. So it's gonna be a challenge, but I'm gonna try to get on here more regularly, y'all. So B1 said that there are a lot of people are posting pictures of empty hospitals on Twitter showing, um, and they had images of dummies pretending like those were patients suffering from coronavirus. I mean, you can't just go on Twitter and see some pictures and jump to conclusions based on that, man. If you look at the situation in New York, you know the news went into those hospitals and stuff like that, and they saw all the patients. There are photographs of trucks that were filled with bodies. This situation is real, and when we downplay the significance of this, we expose ourselves to this situation. We expose ourselves to this deadly virus, and that's a shame that people just don't have the correct information. And unfortunately, the very people that claim to be so concerned about the plight of black people, those are the people spreading this irresponsible, reckless information, false information, downplaying the significance of this virus. And because of them downplaying it, making it seem like it's some exaggeration and it's not real. You got people out here not engaging in social distancing. You got people out here not staying at home. People out here exposing themselves to this virus, getting sick, and bringing this virus home to their loved ones. So, yeah, I just refute all of that misinformation, man. People just coming up with stuff without any kind of actual proof. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Um, and as Wiseman said, hospitals have shown racial bias by denying treatment to black patients. And that's absolutely true. Like I told you about that example of this black woman who went to the hospital like 4 times and they wouldn't even test her. And you have all these disparities that exist in this society that leads to the situation where black people are disproportionately dying, as I pointed out in my last video, where black people are in these jobs where they don't have the option to stay at home. Like they're the clerks at the grocery stores, they're the workers at the fast food restaurants, they're the police officers and nurses and other types of professions, the drivers for these different companies like Lyft and all that kind of stuff, and Uber. They're in these jobs where they are constantly exposed to the public. Also, many of us don't have the same health care benefits and health insurance coverage as others, and we don't receive the quality health care that we deserve. And a lot of black people, unfortunately, are disproportionately low income or poor, and they have to depend on public transportation to get around, to go anywhere, to go to work, or to go to the grocery store and stuff like that. So they're on these crowded buses with all these people that may be infected. They're on these subways with all these people exposing themselves to this virus. So yeah, I mean there are lots of reasons why black people are disproportionately impacted by this situation. So Doug said it's been confirmed that it's man-made. If you can provide some sources, like if you can post those sources in the comment section, I would appreciate it. I just haven't seen any evidence of that yet. Yeah, so somebody said that Kemp, and that's the governor of Georgia, wants black people to be test subjects. And basically that's true because Oh, I accidentally, sorry, I accidentally deleted a comment. Um, Let me see if I can bring that back. Sorry, that was by mistake. I'm sorry about that. Um, so somebody said Trump and the mayor of Atlanta are in bed together. Yeah, I mean that argument just doesn't make any kind of sense to me. Yeah, so somebody said that numbers are inflated. I mean, I think that, I won't repeat myself, but I just think that these numbers are reliable. I think, if anything else, they're underestimate of the number of people that are sick from this virus because they're not even widely testing people. Yeah, I heard about that ridiculous statement that Trump made about injecting disinfectant into somebody's body. I mean, that's so ridiculous. Let's see what time it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go in a second. Um, yeah, so Virgo woman said the numbers are real. It's just that we don't want to accept the fact that we have underlying health issues. Yeah, so Doug said, do your homework, follow the money trail, don't follow the major media. I mean, you got to provide some sources, man. But I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to need you to provide some sources to, dispute these numbers that are put out here. I need you to provide some kind of sources about people profiting from this crisis and stuff. Um, the only people I see trying to profit from this thing um, is the Trump administration pushing this one particular drug that hasn't been proven to be effective. Um, because the Trump has investments in this particular drug. Um, yeah, so Dave Bowman said, I don't know anyone who's died of COVID-19, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know anyone directly who's died from it. I know people who have relatives who've died from it. And I know people who have, um, the coronavirus. Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't have much time to continue this live stream. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please thumbs up this video, share the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed already. And also, I want to encourage you all to support my political campaign. Donate to my political campaign. My campaign is about making a difference in our community. Um, my top priority is ending the violence that's plaguing our community in Baltimore. Another priority is educating and empowering our youth. And finally, uh, one of my top priorities is ending the racial disparities that exist in this city by dealing with the stark disparities that exist in this city. I'm the only candidate openly talking about race. I'm the only candidate openly dealing with the question of reparations in this election. You know, a lot of people on here talk about how we need candidates that support reparations. You know, a lot of people say that. You know, a lot of people talk about tangibles. Well, this campaign is about tangibles. This campaign is about reparations for years of segregation, racially restrictive covenants, redlining, and just all out racism that has deprived black people of the opportunity to build wealth. These so called ghetto communities are not some accident. They are the result of decades and decades upon decades of racist policies. And my campaign is about changing that. My campaign is about dealing with structural inequality in this city. So I encourage you all to donate to my campaign. The brother Doug posted the link so that you all can donate, if I'm not mistaken. And I will post a link in the comments and also in the description box shortly after this video uploads. So with that, peace and blessings, everyone. I may be back here later on tonight with another live stream. And for those people that questioned the numbers being provided of the COVID-19 deaths and infections, provide your sources in the comments section. Provide those sources. I want to read the material so that I can respond to the material. For those people that are all for, quote unquote, opening up America to this virus, I want you to cite some sources that would justify doing such a reckless thing so that I can respond to it. So with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak to my Muslim brothers and sisters. Talk to you soon.